Mower Mike's garage and strap in, because today this is going to be the best video on the internet on how to install a 54-inch deck on a GTX 1054 2011 Cub Cadet with the power steering option. Yes, the best on the internet. Trust me. So what we're going to do today, we're going to install the deck. As you can see, I've been doing a lot of deck work on her. Got all new pulleys, spindles. I mean, she's looking slick. So we're going to do it safely and quickly. This is a little different than the other videos I've done on the John Deeres. It's got a different attach points and a little fancier setup than the old John Deeres. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first step on these suckers is you want to raise the deck height puller. That way when we slide underneath her, you're not going to have any restrictions for these little attach points. So the first step, throw your back into it and slide her in. Yep. These suckers are heavier. Well. There we go. You got to threaten out the front wheels, obviously. Okay, now we've got her slid underneath. And what I like to do, for safety purposes, and it makes it easier to attach, is just to get, I'm using 1-inch thick boards to prop up this deck a little bit. You can also use 2x4, but just something to get it off the ground so you're not pinching your fingers. And do it on both sides here. So with that, we've got her underneath, and now we're going to sneak underneath her skirt, and I'm going to show you guys how to start hooking her up, so stay with me. Alright, so I've had about an hour wrestling match with this deck, trying to figure out the best way to show you how to install it. First I tried the belt first, that didn't work. The front first, that didn't work. The hardest part about this deck is getting these suckers lined up. So I suggest to put these in first, and then we'll mess with the front of the deck. Now, Cub Cadet over-designed things, trying to make things more simple, but really they just made it more difficult. So what you've got here, these upper and lower, this is what raises and lowers the deck. So go ahead and take your deck raiser and lower it all the way down. That way it's going to give you plenty of slack. And the fact you've got this thing up on boards, you should be good. So if you'll see here, this pin, it goes through 2 holes. This one here, it's set, and then when it goes through that second hole, it'll slide through this. So you drop this guy down in here, and then you release the deck pin, and you line her up. There you go, and it snaps in place like so, and that way it locks in. Let's see if I can give you guys a close-up view. As you see here, it's got that little spring, and then it slides into the deck holder. All right, so here we are on the other side of the deck. And what's great about doing this first is that you have plenty of slack. You can move this deck anywhere you want in order to slide up that hole. So you're just line up that hole between those 2 holes, and then you just snap her in place. Hopefully for camera. Oh yeah, slaps home. So all right, so we got the rear ends hooked up real tight. So let's do the front side. All right, so our next step is to install the front pin. This is what holds the whole front of the deck. It's just one pin. Now, for a pro tip, I put a 2x4 underneath here. It helps give you a little more slack as far as installing that pin, or else it gets a little tight. Another thing, so when you install a pin, if you try to come from this way, you'll notice it just doesn't go in there, and I beat the crap out of it with a hammer. But if you flip it and go the right way, she just slides in there like butter, baby. So go ahead and install that, and then real simple, you just put the washer back on and then slide the pin back through the hole in the other side of the pin. So if we go around to, you got your pin right there, slide her on, and trust me, this goes through the hole and it snaps over, and that's what connects the front of the deck. Now we got the 3 connection points, and we'll move on to the belt, and we should be mowing, baby. So our next step is to install the deck belt. Now I know a lot of you rednecks just want to shove it underneath this deck belt guide. But I fought these guides forever. You could probably do it, but I like to just loosen it up. What it is, just a couple 1/2-inch bolts. Just loosen up one side and take the other side out, and then you can pull it back. Super easy. And that way you can take your deck belt here, slide it underneath. You know, it's barely big enough if you don't move this thing back, but moving it back, you got plenty of room, and then just slide it back. All right, and it's going to be, when you slide it back, if you have too much tightness, just unhook it from one of the pulleys on the deck, and then I'll show you how to tighten it all back up. So one more step, we're almost there. All right, now for the final step. Now, I'm sure some people are watching it just to figure out, how do you get this deck belt onto this pulley because it's so tight. So that we've got it hooked up to the front and around all the pulleys correctly. So do that and then get it off to one of these sides and it's too tight on the left side of the mower. Now look down here. You see a square hole in the idler pulley arm with the right next to the spring. What that's for is the end of a 3/8 inch wrench. So go ahead and slide that 3/8 inch wrench in there. And look at this. I like to use a breaker bar a little bigger, but you can pull that like so. Watch your fingers. Look at that. It snaps on that belt super tight, and we've got the whole thing hooked up. So with that, I hope it helps. This is a fun little project. But remember, these decks are heavy. Just take your time, one step at a time. If something binds up, back up, relook at it. Don't get in a rush because I don't want you to hurt yourself. So with that, please subscribe. Mower Mike, I'm out. Until next time we do another goofy video. Mower Mike out.